Hello guys, what's up? Welcome to the new tutorial from the Enscape rendering. I hope you'll be fine and good. Today we have some exterior rendering tutorial in the cloudy near to the morning light. So I'm going to show you how you can create these type of realistic renders in the SketchUp Enscape. And this tutorial belongs to the some project done in the Albuquerque, New Mexico, who plays the Breaking Bad series, and architecture and designer is the Surush SketchUp Arc Studio. So let's get to work. I'm gonna close the Camtasia in here, and I'm gonna open the Enscape for you. As you can see, this is the environment that we have in here. I'm gonna click on the visual setting, and I want to drop my rendering quality from the high quality to the draft quality. So I'm gonna change my HDRI for losing my new type of HDRI that I have in here and convert it to the new HDRI that I want. So New Mexico is some type of deserty place in the America, and I'm gonna click on the sky option in here, click on the skybox, and load some type of customized HDRI for myself. So I'm gonna click on it, and I will go to the download option in here, and I have some HDRI file with the 8K quality, about 85.2 megabytes. So I'm gonna rename it to the desert, and I download this file from the Google Chrome polyhaven.com. The art is about author Greg Zal, I think. Thanks for your HDRI, man. So I'm gonna click on the Enscape in here and click on the desert and open my HDRI skybox for my render. It takes a little bit time, and after that you can see the changes in your environment. So I click on it, and I hope it will load as soon as possible. Yes, as you can see, this is the HDRI that we have in here. Don't worry about the position. You can rotate it very simple and easy everywhere you want. So first of all, I'm going to increase the brightness of my HDRI from 2000 LUX to the 10,000 LUX. So I'm going to type 10 and press enter. Now it's much better. So I want to click on the F option on my keyboard, click on the create view, and I want to set my camera right now very simple and easy. First of all, I'm going to turn on the save frame. Second, I'm going to click on the visual setting. And the third, I'm going to click on the output. And the fourth, I'm going to change my resolution to the portrait resolution. So the best portrait resolution is something about 1440 to the 9020. It's much better. And I'm going to set some type of place on the asphalt, something like that. And I want to click on the visual setting in here and use the field of view to locating the best shot for my camera. So I want some type of close shot, something like this, as you can see. And I want to be on the floor, as you can see. So I'm going to press space to convert myself to the VOC mode. And I'm going to convert it to the 2-point perspective. Something like that is really good. I'm going to reduce the field of view as I can, something about 54 degree on the horizontal line, and exposure is good. So I'm going to close the visual setting. The pitch is about 8 degree, as you can see. If I hold left click on my cursor and move my camera to the upside, the pitch will be increased, and you can understand the meaning of the pitch option. So the best number for this shot is the 8, and the eye is about 90 degree. So I'm going to click on the X view in here. 90.96 is really good, and my eye level is the 1.6, I think. And the Z is about -10. And I don't want to link any type of visual preset. My camera name is the, for example, render shot 1, and I'm gonna add it to my favorite list. So before we continue this tutorial, please subscribe our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Touch this button for supporting me. So I'm gonna click on the favorite in here, And about the sunlight, I'm gonna play with the sunlight for the best source that we have in here. I want some type of sunlight near to the morning, so I'm gonna add it to the for example, maybe 602 is the best number, so I'm gonna hold Ctrl U and I to change my sun position. Something like that can be really useful. So azimuth is about 30.7 and the altitude is about 0.8, and I'm gonna press create. When I click on the render shot 1, as you can see, my sun position will be reset for me to the default mode that I take in this shot. So I want to change my eye height and fix it in some number about 1.4, and I'm gonna click on the save option. So I'm gonna remove the save frame. I'm gonna click on the perspective and change my field of view to the normal. So now I'm gonna use the Enscape asset library. So for this reason, I'm gonna click on the asset library in here, and after a second, you can see the new updates on the Enscape 3.5 about the assets. First of all, I need some vehicles, so I'm gonna click on the vehicle option. So I'm really crazy about these objects in the Enscape. So it completely depends on your taste and your type and mood. So I think some type of van or truck can be really useful for this render, but it can be a little too big for my house. So I can change it to the motorcycle or some other type of things that we have in here. I think, for example, something like the Pontiac can be really useful. It takes a little bit time, and after applying your model, as you can see, it looks like to the Walter White's car, as you can see in here, and it's really like that. I don't know why. So I'm gonna click on it. I'm gonna click on the rotate option. And I'm going to change the view of it a little bit, something about 270 degree. The scale can be a little bit reduced in this case, so something about 88% is really good. And I want to use the move option to move my car in here, for example, and I can rotate it a little bit like that. So I'm going to click on the apply changes in here. If you don't like the color of the car, you can click on it, click on the select option in the left side and click on the color button. As you can see now, you can change the color, for example, something like the green or some other type of colors like the black. It completely depends on you and your taste. I prefer to use some color like the standard color, something like that, and apply change on my model. As you can see, this type of color is really special, but I think white color can be really good for this model. So I'm going to change it to the white color completely and apply my changes. So this job is done for us. Now I'm going to click on the people. I need some women. So I'm going to click on the women in here, female. And I want this female on the walking mode. So I'm gonna select one of these females in here, for example this one, and add it to my render like that, very simple and easy, and press apply changes to add your new 3D asset to your environment. So I'm gonna click on it, click on the rotate option and change it like that. I want to add some type of direction for this personage. For example, she walks to drop this car in here, and I think everything is done right now. So I'm going to click on the vegetation. So I'm going to clear all of my tags and filters in my environment. Click on the vegetation in here, and I want to choose some type of special trees for my environment, but I don't know how. So One of the best new updates in the Enscape 3.5 is that you can add some type of multi-assets in your 3D environment. So I'm going to click on the multi-asset placement in here. I'm going to change it to the paint bucket mode. And I'm going to click on the, for example, some type of hedges. It can be really good. No. So, for example, some type of bushes, or you can add some type of autumn vegetations, because in the desert areas we usually have some type of yellow vegetations or some type of dry vegetations. So I prefer to use the autumn vegetations. So I'm going to click on this one. At this place you can manage your assets in here, very simple and easy. And I think everything is good, something like that. And another one in here, for example, something like this. And I'm going to click on this face in here. It takes a little bit of time and it will generate some type of assets for you. If you increase the density, you can see the changes very simple and easy on your environment, but sometimes it depends on size of the assets. For example, when I click on the bushes, I can see the changes in here, or some other type of things, for example, something like that can be really useful for these type of environment and climate that we have in here. So density is about some number like this, for example. It takes a little bit time. So you can change the distribution from the random to the jitter mode or uniform. I prefer to use the random mode in here because it's much realistic than the others. You must check the random rotation for your realistic results in the rendering. And we have regenerate. When you click on the regenerate, as you can see, Enscape will restart the placement of the assets in your environment. So I click on that one, confirm placement, and apply changes. It takes a little bit of time and it makes your models much heavier than the past. So something like that is really good. Another time, I'm going to click on the paint bucket, add it to this place, and regenerate, confirm placement, and apply changes. So I want to add some type of special tree inside my house, but I don't know how. So I'm going to search for it a little bit. It takes a little bit of time, but don't worry, you can find some type of special vegetation for your house. So I'm going to scroll it down. As you can see, it takes a little bit of time. After that, you can find some type of, for example, something like this bush in here. So single, I'm going to switch it to the single mode. And I'm going to click on these type of cactus in here. So I'm going to add it in here, another one in here. And I'm going to click on the select option, rotate it a little bit, something like that. And I want to rescale it a little bit, something like this. So I'm going to apply changes on these models too. As you can see, this is the result that we have in here. It's really good and it can really help us in our 3D renderings. So everything is done for us right now. So I'm going to click on the save frame. I'm going to press F on my keyboard and I will come back to the render shot number 1 in here. I'm going to check my perspective to the 2-point perspective, and the visual setting and field of view is something about 50 degree or 54 degree. As you can see, something like that is really good. I'm going to come back to the skybox in here and I want to rotate my source and HDRI. So I'm going to rotate it a little bit. As you can see the effects about the lighting on your surfaces. So I want to select the best realistic thing that we have in here. I want most of the background empty. So something like that is really good. It depends on you and you can change it very carefully. I think something like this is good. So I'm going to type 208 degree. And when I check the brightest point as the sun direction, HDRI will only works by itself, and you can change the time of the day or sun direction. So uncheck it if you don't want it. So I'm going to click on the atmosphere in here. We don't have any type of fog in this place, the sun brightness. So I'm gonna press F on my keyboard, render shot number 1, something like that is really great. So when I click on the F option and click on the edit view, I can change the sun position again. And it completely depends on you and your job. For example, something like 6, and when I hold Ctrl and U, I can see the changes in my environment very fast and easy. So some type of lighting like this is really good and much artificial because you can see the shadow of this female in here. So 74.9 and 0.8 best numbers for the sun in the Enscape. So I'm going to press save. I will go to the visual setting in here, and this is the final step of the rendering. I'm going to start my job with the exposure, so I'm going to increase it a little bit, and I want to convert my rendering quality to the ultra, medium, high quality. High quality is not bad in here right now, so I'm going to increase the exposure a little bit, something about 70%, and I can click on the image bar in here and turn on the auto contrast. We have some type of saturated colors in here, so I can desaturate my 3D image in here, as you can see, something about 86%, and our screen is too warm, so it's not realistic. And if I decrease the color temperature, it will completely lose all of the RGB channels. So I prefer to increase it a little bit to make it a little bit colder, something about 8000 Kelvin. And the lens flare is not really useful at all, so I'm going to reduce it to the 26%, motion blur is 0, and the bloom option is 0.2. Now we have sharp render in here. If you want sharp render, you can reduce your bloom option. And the vignette is about 10%, and the chromatic abbreviation is something about 6%. So I will go to the atmosphere. I can reduce the sun brightness to the 72%. Night sky is not really useful, but because we are near to the morning, so night sky can help us in this scene. So I can increase it a little bit, something about 122%. And the shadow sharpness, look at this woman's shadow on the facade design. When I increase it to the 90%, you can see it much sharper than the past. And totally it's not realistic. So you can decrease it a little bit, something about 33%. And artificial light brightness is the spotlights that I have on the facet, so I'm going to change it to the 144%, and the ambient brightness is something about 59%. So intensity of the wind is 0, and the output and the sky is good. So I'm going to change the output to the JPG and increase the rendering quality to the high mode and ultra mode. So I'm going to activate my depth of field, turn off the autofocus, and only focus on my facade in here. Something like that. So I'm going to add some number about 12.20 meter. This is the distance between the focus point and my camera lens. And when I increase the depth of field, you can see the blurriness all around the picture. And it's not realistic. Don't use high values in the rendering. So something about 10% is good, and everything is done right now. Everything is done. So I'm gonna render my job, but I don't know how. So I'm gonna click on the screenshot in here, desktop, and press save. As you can see, I think under than 20 minutes we took this render very simple and easy with all of the asset placements and other type of things. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thanks for your watching. Please subscribe our YouTube channel if you like this video. Thanks and goodbye.